Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, SWGOH fans of all ages, please put your hands together and your speakers on for the hosts of the Real Sith of Genius livestream, Ranger J 1999 and Finity.
Real Sith of Genius is not taped in front of a live studio audience.
Power of the dark side.
Howdy and welcome to another live stream of Real Sith the Genius. I am one of your hosts, the infamous Ranger J 1999, and oh, who's this over here? Here's this strange person over here. I don't know who that could be. I wonder who that is. Hey, who is that over there? Hello there, strange person. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I have no clue. I've been brought here as a hostage by Red.
Look who it is. It's Finity. We finally got Finn on the stream with a real face, real time reveal. So Finn, what is going on, brother? How's it feel to be live and naked to the world?
So much going on this week. It feels kind of good. Lots of good things happening since the last time we streamed, so
yes, a lot of good
stuff. It's going to be a pretty good and positive stream going on.
I think so too. And joining us, we have a special guest tonight. Joining us is from Team Skunk, Mr. Remon, aka Ramon. Sir, welcome to the stream. Go ahead and say hi to everybody out there.
Hey everybody, how's it going? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Glad to have you on. What's going on with you, man? What's new? What's going on with Remon? I know you as Remon. Finn's saying Raymond, and I'm like Ramon, and I'm like, it's Remon.
Well, my name is Ramon, but people,
well, obviously,
people, Skunk started calling me Remon on the streams when he first was like, because my name reads with, it kind of reads like Remon. So, but then when I actually started like joining him on the streams, I corrected him one day and I told him it's actually Ramon. But because people on the streams know me as Remon, when I started making my own videos, I always started including my name on the stream too, just so they could put two and two together that I'm the same guy from the Lord Skunk show as well.
Awesome. So we got a lot of stuff to go into today. So let's get into it. We got some new slides. We got some new stuff. We got all kinds of new stuff. So I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Finity, who will get us going on what we have got on discussion for today. While he's doing that, I'm gonna try to get some music going. Hopefully this works. If not, then blame Finity. So Finn, take it away.
All right. I mean, we always try to keep some new stuff coming and making our stream better. So I hope you guys like the new graphics and stuff that we have now for the stream. But let's go ahead and start kicking it off with some of the stuff that's been going on in the SWGOH world lately. So I think the first thing that a lot of people are really happy about, and maybe they're not as excited because they were hoping for a little bit more, but to them I say it's going to be the Cantina Energy that they've done. So you now have 45 Cantina Energy that you get as a refresh every day at 1 p.m. And they reduced the prices of the refreshes starting with your second one. So your second one is now 100 instead of 200. The next two are 200, and so on and so forth. So they've reduced the prices. You can now get a lot more Cantina Energy, and helps a little bit, I think, with the mods and the Cantina refreshes. Have you been making use of those, Remon?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a huge improvement especially for free-to-play players, because now you can get 2 purchases on Cantina every day, and it's totally you're totally still living within your means as far as like your payout and all that. Yeah. But, obviously, I'm not free to play, but I'm just saying that it gives me an extra purchase every day, because it's kind of steep, that 400 crystal purchase to get another Cantina refresh, and then it goes right to 800. So now you have that 100, 100, 200. So you're spending 400 in total, rather than going right to 700, which is what it was before, to get the same amount of energy.
Right.
Oh, I can tell you that I've been using the hell out of it.
Be careful about. It's a little bit of a trap if you're not careful.
That's a
which
trap.
is smart on the part of CG, which is that if you have 200 crystal refreshes, sometimes you get into the habit of saying, oh, it's 200, it's only 100, I'll do it again. Remember that you're spending 200 crystals total in order to get that. You have to make sure you can afford that many crystals, even though that second 100 is pretty enticing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a smart choice on their part because it makes it just affordable enough where it like makes sense to maybe buy those crystal packs every month, you know, where you get that extra 100 crystals a day.
I've been using the heck out
What
of
about
it.
you, Ranger?
I've been
Making use of all
abusing.
the extra Cantina
Oh
energy?
my god, I have no choice because I'm determined to get Emperor Palpatine to 7 stars, and I have to farm the living snot out of it because I'm trying to get Lando so I can be able to do 7 stars. So I've almost got him to 6. I'm halfway, just over halfway to 6. I got 5 days left. If I do the math, if I'm using the crystal refreshes that I'm using at the rate I'm going, then I should be able to do it. I can say one thing though, being forced to do that, I've got a ton of Cantina shipments, and it's going to make getting First Order Officer. As I pull up right now, you can see I've been working on 1E. I got 2,500, and I've been spending them like crazy. So it's definitely helping me in my drive to get Palpatine. I've got, considering that when this event started, I had pretty much nothing of Lando. You see, I got him 48 out of 85, and you see, I'm saving money and everything else to as soon as I level him. Bam, he'll be good, and I'll probably at the end of this have enough money to not only do Lando but do the Emperor as part of whatever I want to use it for. I'll probably complete some of the mod challenges and get those done. So I mean, again, we talked about this last week. I still think it's a great job what CG did with this. It makes sense. I like it. I think it gives people an opportunity, you know, to focus. You know, you can use your first amount of energy on a character and then go do some mods, you know, if you need mods. So it kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility with it. Kind of my thought process on it.
It also helps you get, like you just said, like obtain some more. Those characters out of the Cantina shipments are some of the harder characters to obtain out of any.
They are.
The Cantina Energy is just not quite as plentiful for resources. Let's say Galactic War or your arena tokens. So
Yeah.
it's great to be able to farm some of those, you know, very important characters, because it's tough to make that decision sometimes in Cantina, especially when you're starting out to try to decide whether you're going to go for, you know, Qui-Gon or you're going to go for, you know, there's just so many characters in there.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a new player,
And on a different note, it wouldn't be a real Sith of Genius stream if there weren't some kind of technical difficulties going on.
what's the
We're
technical
getting
difficulty?
feedback, Ranger, that me and Remon are coming in a little too quiet.
They're coming a little too quiet. Okay.
Are you able to boost us up a little
I
bit?
will do that right now. Let me do that. Let me go here. And
We're working on it. Don't worry, guys.
let me boost.
You know what you signed up for when you came to our stream.
I mean, honestly.
At this point, by the way, thank you all for watching our stream so long. We're getting close to 200 subscribers so far, and we're in our first double-digit episode here. We are up to episode 10. So we hope to keep on adding more, but thank you guys for the support so far.
Okay.
And
I turned you.
on that note, also, we have Ramon's YouTube channel linked into our YouTube description as well. So make sure that you guys go and subscribe to his once we're done here. Don't leave our stream right now.
Yeah. Now I've got you guys at the max.
All right.
So you guys may have to boost
I assume
yourselves
that
up.
they can hear me. I think I'm just coming in a little bit quiet here.
Yeah.
But we'll keep on pushing forward here. So the next thing is the shipments. So I don't know how much you guys have noticed this. It's an interesting change that they put inside of the patch notes, which is that there are now two different raid pieces that will be showing up in the shipments at the same time. So right now, there's going to be the security scanners and the droid collars showing up in the shipment. So it's no longer just one of them and waiting the 2 weeks. You have a chance for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Kind of moving ahead towards the new raid that's coming up, Ramon. What do you think about having two of the gear shipments or the raid gear pieces in the shipments?
It's definitely a big deal. I mean, you know, you're looking to try to get these characters that you're sort of starting to theory craft for the new raid together. Like, you know, we're all banking on Ugnaught and, you know, your Jawas and, you know, some of these AoE characters to be big players in the new raid. So for those of us that weren't necessarily working on those characters, for those of us that were more focused on, you know, Tebow and other things like that for the old raid, and put a bunch of gear, you know, into those characters, the fact that they may not be viable in the new raid, you know, could cause a dilemma. So being able to purchase some of this gear out of the shipments now gives you an opportunity to kind of, I guess, speed up some of these other characters that you know want to get ready for the new raid. So it definitely helps out with that.
I agree 100%. I mean, I think that.
Yeah, so
I think it's.
I think speeding up the characters to get ready for the new raid is definitely a big benefit, and I think it's a big boost to EA and CG also, because then hopefully people are more excited about it. Are you excited for the new raid? We're gonna get more into it later, but are you excited for the new raid?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's gonna be something totally different than we've ever seen before, and we're gonna get you know, a chance to face, you know, it seems like multiple different characters at once. It's like you know, the most we've ever faced in a raid to this point was, you know, the 3 pigs. So now there's a chance that we may fight 6 or 7 enemies at a time in the new raid, and it's going to be all different mechanics than the old raids. So, you know, it looks like per meter reduction is not going to work and things like that. So it's a whole bunch of, you know, we're going to have to theory craft the whole raid all over again, and that's the fun of it. You know, just trying to find the pieces that work so you can, you know, break the game.
I think they didn't like that we broke the raid with the Rancor to begin with, so I think they're doing a little more testing this time to make sure that we don't have that same like one person soloing half the raid problem again.
I would just be happy with the raid being a little bit more difficult, to be honest with you. I mean, again, I'm not saying that you want to make it impossible, but we're at a point, you know, in alpha where we're letting everybody just go through phase 1 for a half hour. So like every single person, like we're posting at the end of the raid, if you combine all the damage, around 80 to 90 million damage between all of us, and it's like we were killing the Rancor, you know, 9 or 10 times over. So it's like it'd be nice to have maybe a raid that was a little bit more difficult, something where you're going to have to actually use like your whole roster to complete it. So that could be, you know, pretty interesting.
And I'll probably go one step further than you. I don't want just a little bit more difficult with the new raid. I would actually prefer a lot more difficult. I really don't. I like the prospect of having the goal being that you solo a phase, but make it so that it's ridiculously hard to do so, if not impossible. I don't think that we need a raid where one person can solo an entire phase. I don't think that's beneficial to guilds. I don't think that's beneficial to anybody, to be honest, especially CG.
Well, the smart thing on their part would be to make the new raid so that you really have to have an elite guild to defeat the tier 7 version of that raid, right? Because you know, and I'm not saying like you have to be, you know, Team Instinct and have 70 guys, you know, 50 guys with 70 characters or anything like that. I'm just saying you have to have you know, a nice amount, you know, you have to have a decent amount of guys on your guild, in your guild, that have a decent amount of teams that they can field, so you can even get through the whole thing, and that would make it more interesting. Because again, you know, if they're going to have you want people to strive to have bigger rosters, right? Like you want people to want to grow their rosters to get 30 characters or 47-star characters at some point. You know, even the free-to-play players will eventually get there. You know, it just takes time, you know, farming and building up your team. But once you get there, you know, you want to, you know, be able to use your whole team and make it mean something. So, you know, it'd be really great if you know, I feel like, you know, I was kind of I mean, were you guys a little disappointed that Palpatine's not quite as difficult as, let's say, Yoda was when the challenge first came out?
Not really, because I mean,
I was more disappointed that they made Yoda easier once I beat him when he was already hard.
Yeah, but they
After
made
that,
that.
I kind of
They
assumed
made.
Palpatine was going to be easy.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they were going to make it something challenging again. You know, like I mean, I was hoping that even with a full plate of 7-star characters, like I still might not be able to do it. I may have to like go rework my mods, or maybe just like try to form up a different character. I was hoping that it was going to be some sort of strategy involved, and it was a lot of fun. Like I mean, trying to when we were first trying to beat Yoda, like talking to other people, trying to find out like how other people were beating it, and that's the fun of it. You know what I'm saying? If it just becomes like something you can auto, then it doesn't become as special anymore. That you want people that try so hard that they almost want to give up because they can't beat it.
Yeah. Ranger, what do you think? You're approaching your Palpatine event here,
Oh,
hopefully before the end.
I
What do you
mean,
think about the difficulty? You saw me streaming it. If you guys didn't see it, by the way, we have a stream on the Real Sith of Genius where I went through the Palpatine event. So Ranger has an idea about what to expect. So
I
what
mean,
do you think about the difficulty?
well, I mean, you got to think too that the key component here is getting the characters that you're going to need. That's a pain in the
Ranger there.
ass. Can
Oh,
you
there we go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know what that was. I mean, I think that honestly,
Ranger disappear on us.
I think so. But
I know he's working on the volumes for us right now. So
the difficulty is just it's kind of key because I mean the only real challenge we have right now in this game period is arena, right? Because there's the chance that you could fight a team that's been put together correctly to mob. I hope that when they come out with the new raid, it's somewhat hard. Okay, it makes it like so we have to like really start to think and theory craft as to how we can get through this thing, and make it elite. Make it something where to complete the final level of the new raid. You're going to have a pretty beefy team, and some guilds are not going to be able to do it, and then eventually you work your way up there. That would be great.
all right, I think I made it back.
we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, the joys of streaming sometimes, I swear to God. So you were asking me about the Emperor event before we move past that, or
No, we're still on there. What do you think about the difficulty?
I
Do
think
you
the
think that it should be
difficulty's fine.
harder or what?
No, I mean you can make it a little bit harder, but honestly, you know, if you look at the majority of players, just to get the type of characters that they need to go in there and face that kind of squad. I mean, if you're a whale, you're going to go in there and just smoke it, right? I do remember with the Yoda event, it was so ridiculous how hard they made it. Now, I think they kind of neutered it, which I think they kind of did with the Emperor event, but I understand why. Because people want to get that character. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more challenging than it is, I wouldn't have any problem, but I don't think it needs to be like the Yoda event when it first launched, where, I mean, it took me hundreds of tries to beat that sucker, and I was, it was frustrating. And you don't want the game to be like that. However, I kind of like the direction that CG is going with it, to where it gives an opportunity for people, especially when you go through and you farm the characters and you get them to the level and you do get them the gear that you need to go in there and to beat it. It's more an event thing, and it's a cool character to have, so I don't really have a problem with it. You have to give stuff to everybody an equal opportunity, to be able to get certain characters like that and enjoy the event. It still requires you to be able to farm those characters and do what you need to do to get them a certain level in gear, and that itself is the work that you really have to do. But I would make it maybe a little bit easy, a little bit harder, but not too much, because you don't want people sitting there that have invested all this time and energy, maybe even money that they can afford to be able to go to an event and be like saying, like the other event where you spend hundreds of tries trying to do it, and it's like, what was the point? So I'm sure everybody has an opinion about that, which I'm sure, I don't know what they're saying in the chat, but I'm sure that there's plenty of stuff going back and forth on that, but that's just kind of my viewpoint of it.
I understand where you're coming from, Ranger. I mean, like, if you did all the work to get there, I mean, you should be rewarded with the prize at the end. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that. I mean, didn't you feel like a sense of accomplishment when you did beat Yoda though? Like, wasn't it awesome? You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like when I beat Yoda, I was like, yes, I did that. That was not easy, and it was, it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't use like the Barris strat or anything like that. I just went right for him. And it's RNG has something to do with it, all that stuff. But it's like, you get like a feeling of like accomplishment when it's done. So it depends. I mean, like I can see your side of it, like what you're saying, and I also see the other side of it. Like both sides make sense.
Yeah, it's hard to balance out,
And
what
in the past, they have brought out some events which they've claimed are like the really hard events, like the assault battles, which for some reason they haven't brought back. I really wish they would, but uh, they said those were supposed to be like the really hard content. So as long as they specify, I don't think it's going to be too bad.
The
right.
assault battles weren't even hard, man. I mean, I autoed the assault battles every time. It was just like it's. I just happened to be running a rebel team in arena at that time though, so it was like perfect timing for that event to come out. But I
Right.
mean, if you have max rebels, I mean, it's really easy. It's just like, again, I mean, I just feel like the real only challenge right now in the game is arena, and it's like and right now, I mean, I happen to be running a pretty dangerous team, so I don't really have a lot of trouble. But I mean, if you're not running a team like that and you're trying to figure out how to beat one of these wedge bigs teams, or you're trying to figure out how to beat a really great Earth team, or that's strategy. It's trying to like I remember like when I was running Jedi's, right, like back in the day, when Royal Guard first became like, Royal Guard, when they made his buff and everything, it was tough to beat a Royal Guard team. You had to like strategize, like, okay, I'm going to use Qui-Gon to dispel his taunt, and then I'm going to, use the call and assist to wipe out this character before, his taunt goes up. I mean, you had to like strategize, around Royal Guard to like beat that team, and that was
Yeah.
fun. So it's like I feel like stuff like that is cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. All right,
So
let's
looking at the Palpatine event a little bit,
yeah,
in
go for it.
addition to in addition to the Palpatine shards that you get, we also get credits. And
Mm.
EACG has been pretty nice in terms of giving us credits kind of across the game right now. So if you guys didn't want to actually level up Palpatine or whatever it is, you had all the credits that you could have saved instead of starring up Palpatine. But now you guys also have the credit heist. So if you guys aren't really sure why the credit heist came at such an odd time today, if you're on the forums, you would have seen that around 8 o'clock or so last night, there were posts on the EA forums about how a lot of the people in Asia were getting notifications on their phone that the credit heist was active. And they would go into the game, look in the events, and there was nothing there. And so pretty much every hour, the next time zone that was up would get a notification, and then they would post on the forums itself. So for a while there were just post after post about how there was a notification, and then they moved it to the bugs and issues forum. And it seems like as a result of so many notifications going out and people asking what's going on, that the credit heist was started kind of at a random time during the day. Normally it starts around like 8 a.m. your time and then finishes around 10 p.m. because they leave it for about 14 hours. This time, they started it at, I think, like 2 in the afternoon Eastern
Yeah,
time
they sure did.
and left it running for like 17 hours, which is a pretty interesting thing because if you guys look at the reset timers, the event will reset at that time. It reset around 17 hours. I think at this point, I think Ranger had it up on the screen there.
I'll put it back up.
It's gonna reset around 8 a.m. your local time, but the event will actually reset at your personal time. So there's actually like like a 7-hour time period where you will actually be able to do the credit heist a second time.
Yep.
So Remon, what do you think about kind of the credit generosity going on with CG right now?
Did we lose him?
I think he might have stepped away. What about you, Ranger?
Well, I think it's needed. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, what's the one thing holding most players back. It's that credit crunch. It really is. So I think anything they can do to kind of offset that a little bit, especially with the new raid getting ready to launch, I think is really smart. To give people as much of an opportunity to try to get as many credits as they can. So any of these little events that they can do, I mean, that's one of the things I was very pleased about with the Emperor event is it did get a lot of crystals and rewards like cash that we need really bad. And I do like that they're doing this with the credit high, especially when you know that people are trying to get Palpatine and other things, and trying to do some things with their characters. I think every little bit helps. I still think they need to restructure some things. They need to reevaluate how much cash they give out, because it's still very meager, in my opinion. But at least it's a step in the right direction. The one thing I can say about CG lately, in the last 2 weeks, they've really been doing a good job of really looking at some of these problems and fixing them. Some are easier to fix than others. There's still some things and bugs and things that are out there, but I am getting more confident as we go along that they are really listening and trying, at least trying, right, to offset and make corrections for these things. And I got to give them props for that. They still got a ways to go, but at least it tells me that they're trying, and that's all you can really ask for.
Well,
And
I think we got Remon back.
Yeah, we got Ramon back. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just jump in. I just had to step away for 1 second.
No worries.
What I was saying is with the credits, you look at, like, let's say you get a credit heist in a week, all right? So you get around 600k credits, a little bit more from Galactic War every day. It was closer to 700. Then you get.
So with that, I'll just interrupt really quick there, Ramon. Then I'll let you get back to it. A couple streams ago, I said I was gonna actually track how many credits that we get from GW. So before they said they were going to increase it, and I think they wrote that they were estimating around like 150k increase.
Yeah.
Before that, the amount of credits that you would get from GW was 448,000 and a little bit extra. After they made the changes, you now get 562,000 and a little extra. The difference in increase of credits was 113.6 thousand. So it wasn't quite 150 like they were estimating, but we're at 562k in terms of credits from GW.
Okay, so in any given week, if you just add that all up, you're talking about 3 million credits, about 3 let's say 7, so let's say 3.6, 3.7 million credits from Galactic Wars in a 7-day period. Let's say you get a credit heist, and you're able to complete the credit heist, and you have the scoundrels and all that, you get another million. So that's 4.6, 4.7 million credits, and then you get the credit challenge every week. And this is not including any like battles that you do. You get credits from Cantina battles or buying mods and things like that too. But I'm just saying, just what the game gives you from challenges in Galactic War. You're going to get from the challenges 93,000 times 3 times a week. So that's
280 roughly.
Let's say 270 times 3. So you're talking about like an additional 800k in credits a week from those challenges. You're at around about, let's say, 6 million in credits. So between 6 and 7 million credits a week if you get a credit heist, and that's not even enough to level up a character from 1 to 80 and give him all of his abilities, purchase all the abilities. That's not including the credits you need for gear.
Well, that's including, not including 7 stars.
The character up. So I mean, there's just a lot of credits, and it's like, I mean, even if you level up a character every 2 weeks, because you're going to need credits for other things too, like leveling up mods, all that stuff. It's a long haul to level up guys, and it's like, what they want you to do is, it seems like they want you to buy credits, right? So I mean, that's a win for them, but I mean, for people that just don't have the ability to do that, it's like it's a real long grind. And I mean, I guess it's supposed to be, but I feel like they could give us a little bit more, so that I mean, now that they added this whole other facet with the mods, right? I mean, that's just a whole. I mean, you're talking about
Yeah.
like the 5 mods, like 500k credits to level up a single mod. That's a lot of credits. I mean, so now that they added this, they have to compensate us in some way. It was already tough before mods. I mean, so now they
Mhm.
have to. I think it needs to be. There needs to be some sort of significant increase, or maybe another challenge altogether that they put out there. Maybe a daily challenge where we can get credits because they took away that challenge from the event section that you used to be able to get credits on a daily basis. Now they just replace it with the scoundrel event.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe some way we could use energy on a daily basis to get credits. If you don't like, so if you decide instead of getting gear today, you're going to use your energy refreshes on getting credits, you can do that. And something that makes sense, right? Because that challenge that they had there before, where you get a 3 times multiplier to maybe get 24k credits, is just like a waste of your energy. So it's if they came up with something that made some sort of sense, I think it would be a huge help.
Yeah, I think it may be something that
And
they're looking for in the future.
Ranger, you can yell at me afterwards. I'm gonna play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I definitely don't mind having more credits. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have more credits. Um, the one thing I'm noticing though, after so I was saving up credits for the new raid that's coming up before I started leveling up any characters, just so I don't level up somebody I don't necessarily need. But I ended up leveling up Palpatine after I got him.
Yes, I
I
remember.
realized afterwards, looking at my training droids, that I can accumulate credits pretty quickly, but my training droids are starting to fall behind. At at one point, I counted, and I had enough training droid experience to level up like 7 different characters up to level 80.
Hmm.
Right now, I am down to 2. So I could, if I got enough credits, I could level up 2 characters up to level 80 with the training droids. I think it's an interesting dichotomy they have set up here now, where they're starting to increase credits because everybody's asking for it, and they're starting to get low on training droids, but don't realize it yet. I think some people are hitting that. I don't know if you have, Ramon, but I think the training droid crunch is going to start hitting people shortly, and it's
Well,
hopefully it doesn't hit them too hard.
well, you're always starving for something, no matter what level of
Yeah.
gameplay you're at, right? Like so I mean, like even if you're the whaliest whale of all whales, what you're looking for right now, and what you'd die for, like what Alpha Ball Eliza and Team Skunk Alpha is looking for, is blue and green mats, right? Like the
Yeah.
ones that we have thousands of that you can't even use. He just like would love to buy. He's buying mats out of Cantina shipments, which I would say is huge taboo, right? Like that cost is just bananas for those
Wow.
mats. But it's like just to get them, because once you get to having like 87-star characters and you're trying to level them all up, you need a lot of those mats. So I mean, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
while I can't see that struggle, because I mean I've been playing since November and I've got thousands of those things. I wish I could pass him some, but it's like, that's his struggle. So for for us, it's credits, and I've actually gotten to the point where I did run out of training droids and I had to start buying training droids, and that becomes a real expense too. I mean, if like you want to level up, like if you like, I went one time, and I'll tell you, I went one time. I just went and uh I bought 5 vaults, right, and I just I just used them all on credits, okay, and I leveled up 8 characters, right, to 7-star, level 80, all that,
Mhm.
and it was. I mean, and what I didn't compensate for was I had to buy an additional 2 or 3 vaults just to buy training droids, because I ran out of training droids, and it's like, even the training droids that they give you, it's like, it's just, you know
They're like the
you're
tier 3, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, and it's like they're not leveling you up that high, so you're just getting enough to, like, maybe, like, you're gonna have to get, like, out of those, if you're gonna buy training droids, you're gonna have to probably make, like, to level up one character, you're probably gonna have to buy like 6 or 7 of those packs to even level up a single character.
Yeah.
You need to have like 200 or 300 of them, or maybe it's been a while since then, so I mean I don't remember exactly the number, but it's a lot, and it's just another cost, and it's like, and that's the cost you have to pay if you want to have more characters. Now maybe it was a waste, maybe it wasn't. I mean, I don't know. Some of those characters I use, some of them I don't. But it's like it's it all depends on what you need. Again, like some of this stuff, like the Palpatine decision that you made, right, to get Palpatine and level him up. It wasn't a bad choice because Palpatine is kind of a character that you're looking to level up for the new raid, right? I mean, like he's an AoE stun, probably going to do well in the raid. So I mean, maybe you spent your credits wisely with him. I mean, you won't know until the raid comes out, and we all know for sure what works and what doesn't. I mean, Palpatine may suck, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming that his stun, especially with the amount of potency that he has at base, is going to be huge. So I mean, I think that you may have made the right choice, especially since you were hoarding credits for the raid anyway. But no matter what we decide or no matter what we choose right now, there's still going to be something else that we're going to need that we're just not aware of at the moment, and there's going to be a rush to go get that, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we'll just have to just determine what that is. When the raid that we're doing now came out originally, Ewoks was the way for T6 raids, right? And we thought that Ewoks was great. But then when we got to T7, our initial thought process was Ewoks are not good for T7. Okay. And then we found out a month later that actually Ewoks are still great for T7. You just have to mod them. You just have to, get Tebow leveled up for his potency and then, put Omegas on him. You know what I'm saying? And nobody
And then
understood.
get mods that change the entire dynamic of the raid.
It made a huge difference, right? Like, just going from a gear 9 to a gear 10 Tebow with Omegas on him, all of a sudden he's producing Terminator all over the place, and he's the king of the raid, right?
Yeah.
So even a small incremental adjustment to a character like that, once it gets figured out, could be the key to the entire thing. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take a bunch of trying and trial and error to figure it out.
So what are you starving for, Ranger?
Oh, I mean, you look. I could do some.
Again,
Do some.
Ranger. I hope he's able to hear us.
it's tough. 7-star character back in like January, December, and I mean, she's still sitting there at level 3 abilities. I've never given her a single purple mat, and it's like, I'd love to, even though she kind of, I wouldn't use her too much. I just feel like I want to have all the characters because now we have Omega mats, right? Like there's another grind. So it's like, let me get all the purple mats to give to these guys. Give me an event where we can get purple mats every day. I mean, that's become such a, now that the Omega mats exist and you have to spend 5 days farming those things to even level up one ability, make it a little bit simpler for me to get purple mats. I mean, we only get two or three at a Galactic War every day. We get the event every week or so. I mean, though that Force event that they had for a little while with the Jedi's actually gave you an ability to get some purple mats, but they could do the same thing in the events column right now too. Like where they have the training droids challenge there, they could have a credits challenge and a purple mats challenge that you can use regular energy for every single day to just get some purple mats if that's what your grind is right now, if that's what you really want,
Yeah. And you're back with us, Ranger?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Everyone can hear you on the stream. We just keep losing you on Discord. Dude, this is real Sith the Genius. You know that's gonna happen.
I know, makes me hurt. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I mean, really, I'm not. You just have to allocate resources. You have to plan ahead. If you look, I mean, I've got plenty of crystals, cash and money right now. Streaming, and then bam, thank you, and we should be back up. But yeah, I mean, you just have to plan ahead. You have to really really understand that you're gonna have limits, and that's the most important thing is you're gonna have limits, and as long as you can do that, then you'll be fine. Just make sure you understand, basically where you can and what you can't do. So so I'm going to be tapping Lando, then I'm going to be tapping the Emperor, and then I'll work from there. Maybe I'll work on the scoundrels, or I think what I'm going to do is just go back to saving material and stuff, and waiting to see what's going to transpire from the raid. So we'll kind of take it from there. So What else we got on the docket there, Mr. Finn Nata?
Before
All
we step
right.
away before we step away from the Palpatine event, I just wanted to ask you, Ranger, are you going to record it when you get it done, or are you going to and just put it on the stream next week or something? Or are you going to because it's going to fall on a day where you're not doing a stream, right? So
Well, Finn already did it, so there's really no point of me doing it too. Um, I, just to do it. So I mean, if somebody wants to see the Palpatine event and and see what transpires, we've already kind of done that. With me, Finn, and Grande this weekend. So I'm not really going to record it. I don't really see the point. If there's anything, there's some other stuff that I'm going to be recording. Because one of the things I get asked a lot about is PvP and things of that nature. So there's some other stuff that we really want to focus in on. Now, saying that, if we had not done the event with Finn already, then absolutely I would have recorded it. You kidding me? Yeah, absolutely, to show 7 stars. But it just the way it kind of worked out. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a recording of somebody doing it with Hoth Rebel Soldier, right? Like I've never seen a Hoth Rebel Soldier in action.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a long farm though.
I have the shards, the 7-star. I just got it the other day.
Oh, nice.
I haven't heard great things about him. And again, but I mean, I'm hearing from people that don't necessarily have him maxed out or anything like that. So I don't know what to gather from. I've never seen a video on him or anything. So it would be interesting to see if somebody had him, out there like maxed out, see what he can do.
And we lost Finity on his camera. God dog it.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna.
I'm working on it.
See my pretty face.
I know I'm working on it. Give me a chance. I'm working on it. Y'all keep talking while I try to.
What's interesting about him is he actually taunts and he's not a tank.
There you are.
Grievous is Grievous classified as a tank?
No.
He's like the worst of all of them. He forces other people to taunt. It's like the worst thing you could possibly do.
It depends. If he calls like Jawa Engineer to taunt, you're in trouble. It's like sometimes I get lucky and he calls like B2 or something like that, and that's really good.
Yeah.
Kind of helps. So it depends,
All right.
No, but he's like the anti-Hoth Rebel Soldier.
Pretty much. Yeah. He's also got a really weird leader ability that may be good at some point, maybe one day. But his leader ability is anti-crit damage, right? So he does like I believe it's anti-crit damage, right?
Top of my head,
crit chance.
I have to look. I haven't leveled up his leader ability because I don't use it, but
it's both. So all enemies have minus 20% crit chance and minus 20 critical damage.
Which character was this? B2? Or Palpatine?
This is Grievous.
Grievous, yeah.
Now that everybody's going for crit damage mods and crit chance mods, because obviously that's the end game right now. I think that maybe one day that could have a place somewhere if you're going to be reducing crit damage that significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, what's next? Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see. That's the fun part of it. All right, so what's next on the menu? I think it's about time we got. Is there any other news we need to talk about, or the time to get into some fun stuff?
No, let's get into some fun stuff.
All right, now I'm gonna try to play music again. Let me try this. Just play the music. Play the music and put it on the thing. Okay, let's try.
No, don't play music. Every time you play music, apparently our volumes go down.
Well, we're gonna try.
No, why must you play around with our technical difficulties?
That's right. I'm gonna figure it out. Y'all just gotta suffer. Listen, it's on my computer. Listen, I represent this my shit. I'll do what I want. No, I didn't mean any of that. Okay, let's get into some fun stuff. Okay, so I think that was all the major news we needed to cover. If I'm correct on that. So let's get into. Yeah. Hey, let's get to the next character. We always got to do. We're into this character creation, and I think Finn, you've outdone yourself this time, my friend. Which character are we talking about this week?
So we are talking about Hera Syndulla. So for
there
all
she
of you
is.
guys right now, just something to kind of so you guys can follow along also. Make sure, and I'm going to say this part first, make sure that you right click and click open a new tab or whatever it is on your computers. in the description of our YouTube video right now, we have a link next to the Hera Syndulla uh, uh, point of the. So it's number 3. You'll see it say character creation.
I mean, just look how
Hera, and then there's a
beautiful.
link to our website, which is realsithogenius at .blogspot.com. So if
Mm-hmm.
you guys click that, you'll be able to see this full image and kind of be able to follow along, because we have to make sure that we had our pretty faces up on the screen. So some
Beautiful.
of the text got blocked.
Pure. It's pure.
But just so you guys can see, we changed the format a little bit. We made it a little bit more SWGOH oriented instead of SWGOH.gg oriented. So we have. You want to give a little bit of a description first about Hera Ranger, and then we'll go.
Well, let me see if I can put old Remon on the spot. What do you know about Hera, Mr. Remon?
I think he might have stepped away.
Did he? Ah, well, okay. Well, then I'll do it. So Hera is a character. She's one of the leaders of, and she's becoming a prominent leader of the rebellion. Her father was actually, and I had his name, and it just went completely blank in my brain. Fought in the Clone Wars and is a major player as the Resistance comes up. He fights his own battles, but in the books, she's the one that finds Kanan, who had pretty much become a drunkard and a scoundrel and all this stuff, and brought him kind of back and into becoming a part of the Resistance, aka the Rebellion. She is a hell of a character. If you go through the books and the canon and you read her, kind of her arc and where she is, you know that her and Kanan have a relationship, a very close relationship. That kind of transcends just like a boyfriend girlfriend thing. There's just a lot more there. What's really great about her, she's an exceptional pilot. In one of the episodes of Rebels, she pilots the first B-wing. I mean, she's an incredible pilot, great leader. Kind of a mother figure to Sabine and Ezra. Kind of all of them. She kind of plays that motherly role to them. So she has a lot of, she offers wisdom, but she's so very independent and she's so strong and she cares so much about helping others and is totally against what the Empire is doing. Again, another great character. I can't emphasize this enough, guys. If you're not watching Rebels, you really need to be watching Rebels. It's such a great show, and we're actually a month away from the launch of that. So counting down the days. So with that being said, why don't you get into what we got with this character, Finn, and kind of break down, the abilities she has and how we kind of came up with this.
All right. So obviously we're kind of basing a lot of our abilities around the pilot aspect, the speed aspect. And so the first thing that we wanted to do is give her speed up on her basic attack. She's more of a support character to us than like an attacker, so we kept her damage a little bit low, but there's more purpose behind it, which you'll see in kind of the later abilities. But her basic attack is accelerating shot. It deals physical damage to the target, probably around, on average, around 2,500, and has a 25% chance to gain speed up for 2 turns. So it seems like a pretty standard type of basic. We were kind of using Lumi and Akbar as a little bit of inspiration to set that up. So that would be her basic attack. Then you go to her special. Her special is actually pretty interesting. If you guys haven't noticed from some of our other creations, a lot of the focus is going to be on trying to create more of a synergy with the faction. So with this in mind, her special is Man Your Station. All allies gain defense up for 2 turns. If there's at least one other Ghost Crewman ally, all allies gain offense up for 2 turns. If there's at least 2 Ghost Crewman allies, all allies gain tenacity up for 2 turns. And if there are at least 3 others, all allies gain 100% turn meter. So if you have 4 Ghost Crewmen on a team with Hera being one of them, and you use the special, all allies will gain defense up, offense up, tenacity up, and gain full turn meter. So you see a little bit more of an incentive on creating a full Ghost Crewman team, which is something I think that a lot of people have wanted, which is put together a team with all one faction, make it more
Absolutely.
viable.
I mean,
Not too
what
much
a
of
great
that right
point.
now. Maybe a little bit with the droids.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, droids are a good one. Rebels are actually a good synergy. I really think so. First Order, even though I'm working on it, sorry, it is. It's not good. Empire, which is really disappointing. It's okay. Um, but when they think about this stuff, they really need to think about characters that can be a kind of cohesive group. Because in all gaming, certain aspects, like for the Empire, you've got great AoE, right? Most of their characters are very AoE centric. However, you don't have that really heavy hitter. So if you form an Empire group with with Emperor Palpatine as the leader, right? It just doesn't work as well as say some other teams. So this is really a key point of why we're doing what we're doing, because we really want to make sure that we're creating those synergies and making it viable for teams to work together with one another.
So what do you think so far, Ramon, about all the Ghost Crewman abilities? Right now we've only gone through the special, but what do you think about the faction bonus that you get with that?
I think that's really cool. I mean, I think that there's not enough faction bonuses, in the game right now. So I think that's a really cool addition.
And you'll see that we're trying not to make things overpowered, and one of the things that we didn't do in the past that we're starting to do now is also include the cooldown amount for these abilities. So because this is it's a pretty hefty boost that you get to your crew, so shouldn't be anything that you can do like every other turn. So we have this at a cooldown of 6, which is what we think is probably reasonable with the amount of bonuses that you get with this character.
Right.
So you think that's reasonable, Ramon?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that have you seen that some of the cooldowns can get exorbitant now? Like with Cody and things like that. Like Cody had like what was it, like an 8-turn cooldown or something like that for one of his
Yeah.
abilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's really cool.
Awesome. So let's move on to the next one.
All right. So the next one is going to be Hera's unique. Again, so this is one of the reasons why we kept her damage a little bit low, and it's mainly because of her unique ability, where she kind of is able to help out her entire squad. So her unique is whenever an ally falls below 50% health, Hera has a 50% chance to gain healer's assist for 2 turns. So this is a new ability that we've created. It's going to be initially starting with Hera. Maybe it'll pick up for some other characters. But what will happen is that Hera will assist all allies on a basic attack. Instead of dealing damage, all damage heals all allies for 50% health, or below 50% health, get healing based on the damage that would have been done. So her basic does 2,500 damage. So if somebody does a basic attack, Hera will assist and attack that target. No damage gets done to that target, but 2,500 damage becomes 2,500 healing for all characters below 50% health. So kind of fits her role where she's trying to keep all of her teammates up, trying to keep them active. She's not really much of a damage dealer necessarily, although I know she's supposed to be a pretty good sharpshooter. But being able to heal by shooting is a pretty awesome ability, I think.
Yeah, I think
And
I like it.
this was a 50% chance to gain healer's assist. If the character that goes below 50% is a ghost crewman, the chance is doubled, which means that Hera will always gain healer's assist for any ghost crewman that goes below 50%.
Absolutely. I like this one.
So
I think that's a really cool ability, man.
you think healer's assist is something that may be able to catch on with some other characters?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, I've I've never thought about that. Where you can, I mean, whether it, I mean, the healing portion of it is phenomenal, but also an ability where you can get somebody to call in to come in on assist until their next turn. That's really cool. Is that how it would work? Would it be like she would heal assist until her next turn?
Yeah.
Correct. So it's actually 2 turns for the healer's assist.
2 turns. Okay.
Yeah. But if nobody's below 50%, then she'll just be assisting kind of for nothing. So because it's only going to heal those that are below 50%.
Okay.
Eventually, she'll be able to heal everybody up. But it's going to be if obviously if this character ever gets made with these abilities, it'll kind of be cool on like a Royal Guard team, because she'd be able to like heal up people to get them above 50%, and if you attack them and go below 50% again, RG will be able to taunt again. So there's kind of some interesting synergies outside of Ghost Crewman also that you can throw in here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the with the man your station, I mean, like it's cool. Also, I didn't mention earlier like how like each uh, ally that is a crew member just increases the ante a little bit.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So let's move to the last
Very
one.
cool. Very
So
cool. I
then
think
we
that
come to
also maybe with like with like a sunback or somebody like that. I mean that would be really great. Like
Oh yeah.
a lot of healers these days really just have why they love that.
Kind of breaking up there a little bit,
yeah.
Remo.
I really wish that healers had more of a role in this game.
I do too. It's a
Like,
shame.
it's pretty much just in GW in order to get some characters healed up before you hit the hard notes at this point.
Yeah.
But like even in raids, healers don't have much of an impact, and usually with RPG type games,
Oh, they're
the layout is
huge.
usually that you have like one tank, one healer, one attacker, and then like a couple of either like off DPSs or full DPS,
Utility.
something like that.
Well, that's why this ability would be cool because I mean it's like you're not because when you do a heal with let's say Luminara or Barris or Oldaka for healing at that exact moment, right? I mean Luminara does have to heal over time, but you're healing at that exact moment. So to have a character that can heal as the match progresses, so so maybe you're not taking you don't need maybe one of your characters needs help, but not all of them yet. But
Yeah.
going into that second turn of Hera's, you may have another character that does need help now. So all of a sudden, that becomes more valuable. So I think like a heal over time like this would be like a lot more beneficial than the heals that we have right now in the game.
Yeah.
I agree. Awesome. So let's move on to the
And
last one.
then we come to her leader ability. So Hera is definitely the leader sort, so she definitely has to have a leader ability.
Absolutely.
So her leader ability is called Full Speed Ahead. Whenever a Ghost Crewman ally is above 50% health, all allies gain 25% or 25 speed. Whenever a Ghost Crewman ally is below 50% health, ally gains 30 defense. And whenever any ally, so those are all for Ghost Crewman. So whenever a Ghost Crewman ally is above 50%, the ally gains 25 speed. Whenever a Ghost Crewman ally is below 50% health, the ally gains 30 defense.
Yep.
Now she also is able to help all allies. So whenever any ally falls below 50% health, a random Ghost Crewman above 50% health will taunt for 2 turns. So we were just describing Grievous. Grievous was a little bit of an inspiration for this character, kind of a little bit of a mix between Saint Han and Grievous in terms of like the ability based on the health percentage and then the random taunt.
That's really cool.
And we do have some tanky Ghost Crewman characters coming up, by the way.
Right.
So we've only done Ezra and Sabine before, so you probably don't want them necessarily tanking, but we do have some tanky ones coming up soon.
So you have like at the start of the match you have 25 speed, and then when you get below 50% health you get the defense, and for any ally if you get below 50% health, you're going to call another ghost crew, or you're going to call a ghost crew member to taunt.
Yep.
And then keep in mind that her We Have Hope unique ability will kick in also. So whenever you fall below 50% health, in addition to the taunt, you have Hera that's going to start healing them a little bit.
And they already got
Pretty much
defense.
every time somebody uses a basic attack.
So it all adds up.
That's really cool.
So she's definitely a character that will thrive once you get somebody below 50%. She's going to try and keep those characters alive. If you have her leader ability, she does a little bit more. Her unique does it. She can give you a little bit of a boost with her special. Not a lot of damage, but that's kind of the intention. That her focus isn't going to be damage, it's just keeping people alive.
Yeah.
So she's kind of a support type of role in the same way that Lumi is an attacker but still does a lot of healing. Uh, Hera kind of fits that mold too, where she heals a lot, but she's more of a support character as a whole.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's cool. I mean, like, if you want, if you're using her leader ability, though, you definitely want to have a tanky ghost crew member.
Oh, those are coming next.
Be the other member on the team.
Those are definitely coming. So, hey, you guys tell us what you think. So, tell us in the comments what you think about this one. It'll be posted everywhere. Give us your thoughts. Give us your critiques. We always look at your comments as long as they're constructive. We've made a couple changes here and there with Ezra, and so forth. When we saw something or added or subtracted. Because this is really a community. Remember, we lay it out there, right? But we don't think that we've got the correct answer. So, your input's valuable. We always appreciate your guys' comments and feedback and support. So, hey, definitely tonight, if you feel like we could do something better, or you think it's great, or you think that we're smoking crack, which we may be, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I'm not smoking crack or anything. But I digress. All right.
But that's cool though. And, I gotta say, I think that I think you got it right with this one. I mean, I think this is. I mean, not saying that you haven't gotten it right before. I mean, I'm saying like this. Her abilities seem really, really tight. I'll tell you. And she's got. The other thing is, and this is something I wanted to mention when we were talking about the speed leader. Is, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but now that mods have come out, and as we get into the new raid and we start to get the 6 dot, 7 dot mods and things like that, the speed leader itself may start to become a little obsolete, right? So it's cool, to have an ability that transitions like this based upon the health percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's our buddy Grande Patrone that was saying that he's been using Stormtrooper Han based on Ranger's recommendation as a lead in Arena lately, and he's one of I think the only one right now that does a lead ability based on percentage, and he seems to be liking it right now. So it could be a trend moving forward.
Absolutely. So,
do you feel like you've inspired him a lot, Ranger?
I try to, but the Great Bearded One does what the Great Bearded One is going to do. I can only talk to the man. I can't make him do anything. So, that being said, I think that's it for this section. So, what's next on the agenda there?
Well, for those of you that are joining us and know our buddy Remon here, you know that he is very much a Darth Maul enthusiast. And so one of the things we wanted to discuss a little bit is with the raid coming up, we've discussed in the past kind of the anti-droid characters. If you guys go back and look at one of our stream snippets, we have the AAT raid characters, and we go through a lot of the anti-droid ones. What we wanted to do today, especially after we saw a little bit on SWGOH about the B2 rocket trooper and his ability to summon 6 of the B1 battle droids, we wanted to discuss a little bit more about potential AoE characters for the raid. It may not necessarily all be about doing damage to the droids. There's also a portion of it that I'm sure will be trying to kill those 6 battle droids as quickly as possible, and AoE characters may be the best way to go about that. So I'll start off with Darth Maul for you, Ramon. How do you feel like he would fare in that phase of the raid?
It depends on how high the HP is on each one of these droids. Like if it's a situation where we're just going to get waves of droids, and we're just going to have to try to, I guess, eliminate each one, and then get the chance to battle the main boss. I think that what's going to happen is Um, you know, Darth Maul is going to be your quickest way to first of all, yes, the AoE that he does a lot of damage, one of the higher damage AoEs in the game. But especially if you mod him up with crit damage and crit chance, or you mod him up with a ton of offense. The other thing is that he's also got the ability to go again. He gets 100% turn meter every time he defeats an enemy. So if you're talking about, I mean, now he does a lot more damage to Jedi's, okay, but if you can do a couple of AoEs and get these droids' health down and line them up so that Darth Maul can just one by one, just kind of, just knock each one of them out, he'll just slowly down the line, just knock each one out of the game one by one. So in that circumstance, I mean, Maul would be great because he'll get to go over and over and over again if you can line it up correctly.
Do we lose Finn?
Now he also gets offense up on a base on a crit with his basic. So he's going to do a lot more damage once he gets that offense up. So I mean, he's got great potential for the new raid because he also gets bonuses for every time an enemy is defeated, and those bonuses last for the entire encounter, right? So like he'll like if this is a long battle that you're going to have with I'm sorry, what was the name of the boss? Is the rocket trooper?
B2 rocket trooper.
Yeah. So the rocket trooper. If you fight the B2 rocket trooper, and this happens to be like something like phase 1 where you're going to be in there for a while, the fact that Darth Maul can not only heal himself with his attacks, but also gain 100% turn meter every time an enemy is defeated, and then on top of that, you get bonuses throughout the entire encounter for every time an enemy is defeated. He could be a real dangerous player in that phase of the raid.
Right. And then, so let's go to kind of the next step then, because you're saying if everybody kind of lines up things for Darth Maul, he could be pretty dangerous. I think two of the best AoE characters right now, I'll let Ranger talk about the first one here, Jedi Knight Anakin and Lando. And
Yeah.
I know Ranger's using Anakin a lot right now, so
Yeah.
what do you feel about the AoE aspects of Anakin in the upcoming raid, Ranger?
Well, I think he is just incredible. I mean, I use him for PvP. I use him for everything.
I'm gonna. Oh, there we go.
What? You can hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I think there's some kind of streaming and disco. Okay. So Jedi Knight Anakin is a beast. You can see I have mine maxed out. The thing that he is, he's such a versatile. I mean, he's got a ton of health and protection, and you can mod that up even more. You can mod his crit, which was what I would do, because you want him to hit. You want him to have his crit chance as high as possible, and potency. Potency is important too because he does have the ability on once you max out his burst ability, a 70% chance to inflict healing and buff immunity for 2 turns. What does that mean? That means you can't do anything with that character, like, and especially for taunting tunes, that ability is incredible, right? Especially if you land it. His AOE is incredible too. But the thing about Anakin is like when someone gets below a certain health, he gets Righteous Fury. He gets 100% turn meter, and his next attack deals 75%. Now I always wait for that with my AoE. Why? Because as soon as or time it to where I'm going to use his AoE. Because when he hits 75% more on that AoE, you can just lay scunion on some people. That sucker hits hard. I mean, super hard. And the cool thing is, when someone's defeated, his turn meter goes right back up too. So again, he's always on the offensive and righteous free. I mean, he's just the rework that they did on him is pretty great. If you can make him lead, he's a great support piece. You can go in with his leader, which is really good, which is Jedi and clone allies gain 30% offense and 20% critical damage. Other allies gain half that amount. And when an ally is evaded, they gain advantage for 2 turns. I mean, that says it all. So I think Anakin as an AoE piece, and I think is going to be really key for this raid, especially with the certain part with all the droids. He's something if you don't have, I recommend him getting. I've recommended him for a couple weeks now, but he's definitely a piece that I think you need to get. Now, on the flip side of that, we have the two that we both agree with think are incredible AoEers, and I'll let Finn go with his thoughts on the next one.
Well, I don't have him yet. I know you're working on Lando right now. Ramon, you have Lando, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your thoughts? I'll let you speak from more experience, and I've looked at him and he seems pretty awesome, but I'll let you kind of talk about him while Ranger, cough, cough, get me back up.
I'm working on it.
My webcam is gone again.
Well, Lando is great because
There we go.
his AOE increases to 100% bonus damage if he gets more than 1 crit on his first attack. So you want to do it where you have as many enemies. You want to do it when you have as many enemies on the table as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to be tough to get 2 crits if you have 3 guys left. You know what I'm saying? So you want to try to crit with him. So you probably want him to go early in the encounter so he can try to hit as many targets as possible. So he gets more than 2 crits. Okay, and then when he gets to go again, the AOE is cooldown is completely reset, and he deals 100% more damage on that next attack. So he's a really dangerous character. He's also got a great leader ability because he gives speed and crit damage to allies. So he's got
Mescendril and Rebel allies.
A really cool set of abilities. Now he's basic, doesn't do a ton of damage or anything
No.
like that, but what you're really looking for him for, especially in the new raid, is that AOE ability, and the fact that you can reset the cooldown for the AOE to do it again. His AOE is probably going to be used more frequently than anybody else's in the game, and on top of that, he's going to get to do 100% bonus damage on that AOE the next time. So if you have, let's say, somebody like Anakin, for example, that does his AOE and then gives everybody offense up, right? And then you go with Lando when he's doing 100% more damage and he has offense up on top of that. You're talking about a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And, he's got a great AOE ability.
I concur.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got Darth Maul, Anakin, and
a little bit. So we talked about some of these AOE characters already. We talked about Jawa.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Dachka. We talked about Ugnaught. I think all of those have a lot of potential, especially in the raid. I'm gonna give my kind of sleeper pick for the raid in terms of AOE.
Sure.
And that is going to be Mr. Magma Trooper.
Interesting.
Especially with Palpatine coming out. He's a Empire character, so you have that kind of available there. But if you look at Magma Trooper's ability, he could be pretty solid with this raid. So he has his AoE special, which deals physical damage to all enemies, and removes 30% turn meter, with a 40% chance to remove another 30% turn meter, and this attack ignores armor. So you're facing droids who you would think probably have a high armor to begin with, but you have an AoE that's going to just remove turn meter and deal damage to characters, which is a pretty solid special. Then you look at the unique that he has, where Magma Trooper will has 30% tenacity, so he has a greater chance than most characters to actually resist something. So he has 30% from his unique, and he has 33% from his gear if you gear him up. So that brings him up to about 63% tenacity. But then if you look at his effect, he gains 60% turn meter whenever he resists or suffers a negative effect. And if you remember the B2 battle droid's abilities, with one of his specials, with his scatter shot, he has a 50% chance to inflict ability block. with a 50% chance to inflict offense down. And then he has his Barrage special, which is unmitigatable damage to all enemies with the chance to inflict healing immunity for 2 turns. So you have this B2 Rocket Trooper who's going to be trying to put debuffs on you all the time. Meanwhile, Magma Trooper could keep on gaining turn meter every time B2 goes. So you could see Magma Trooper going about two to 3 times before the enemy goes without even worrying about the rest of your team. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think he's a pretty solid like sleeper pick on the raid.
I actually like that a lot. I didn't really think it. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
We're talking about turn meter reduction not really working in the raid, but I think that's going to be primarily against, let's say, the rocket trooper or the actual tank itself. These droids that you're facing, you know, their turn meter may be able to be reduced. So, you know, if he has that shot to reduce their turn meter, on top of that to get, you know, to get turn meter every time he gets either or he resists a negative effect or gets hit with a negative effect, that's I'm assuming there's going to be a ton of negative effects that they're going to put on. Droids are notorious for putting negative effects on people, so I'm assuming that the rocket trooper and the tank will probably do a ton of that. So, yeah, I mean, anybody who's getting turn meter from negative effects, I mean, with the droid team is probably going to get a ton of turn meter. So that's definitely, I mean, the thought process there sounds really good.
I think Ranger doubts me a little bit after I steered him to I'm a Gundy, so I'll let you criticize me, Ranger.
Oh no, I'm not criticizing at all. Oh God, you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now, Ranger.
My goodness, I swear it's like I touched something. It's like it goes crazy on this thing. Um, no, I was actually agreeing with you the whole time that you're saying that that's a really actually I didn't consider that. That was actually smart. I mean, who would think Magna Guard would be anything? It's going to depend on where his potentially. I like the idea. I think it's really smart. There's no criticism.
Not the Magna Guard, Magma Trooper.
I'm Magma. Oh, Magma Trooper, not Magna Guard.
No, Magma Guard, not the droid.
Magma
It'll
Trooper?
be the Empire character, Magma Trooper from GW.
Oh, I thought you said Magna Guard.
Yeah, not Guard, Trooper.
Let me think. I don't know. I have not been impressed with Magma Trooper at all, but the way you described him makes me think that that could be a possibility. You're going to have to put high potency on him for his turn meter to hit and stuff. But yeah, it does have potential. I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, he's saying he also ignores armor, so that he's going to do a lot of damage that way. But I mean, the other thing is, you know, Magma Trooper also synergizes with Palpatine, so he's going to get increased potency from Palpatine leader.
As if you're running Palpatine, though.
That was the synergy that I was thinking, because if you can create like a group of Empire characters, there's not too many that I think would synergize super well, but Palpatine definitely with his AoE stun, and then if you can add Magma Trooper that does a lot of AoE damage, ignores armor, has a chance to reduce turn meter, which may not be the main effect that you're going to be using him for, but still it's a nice little thing to have. Gaining turn meter with his unique ability. Not to mention, and I didn't mention this, his basic ability has a chance to attack 2 targets instead of 1.
Yeah,
like he has a lot of viability, I think, in the first phase, if it plays out the way we're kind of suspecting it.
Right.
Which is that you have the B2 droid, it's going to summon the B1 battle droids every few rounds, kind of like the same way that the captain will summon the guard and the brute to assist him.
Yeah.
It looks like he'll be pretty good in helping to control a lot of the characters out there. But you were mentioning, Ramon, that you had another character you were thinking about?
Well, again, it depends on his availability, you know what I'm saying? But I've been playing around with Wedge, and Wedge, his AoE is also pretty serious. And with an Omega, the cooldown goes down to 3 turns, and if you're talking about synergies, I mean, you could put him behind. You could either have him as leader because he gives all rebels 30% offense, but also you could have him behind, let's say, like a Lando leader, which would give him increased speed on top of the already crazy speed that him and Biggs get from their uniques or whatever. But on top of that, he gets an increase in speed and an increase in crit damage. So you could have him behind, like, let's say Lando, and you have two of the most serious AoEs in the game right there, and he's going to be getting an additional 30% crit damage from the Lando lead. So that's just another possibility, depending on what other teams you want to piece together. I think personally, like a Lando lead or a wedge lead with with Lando and maybe Anakin and maybe Palpatine or something like that could be the way to go. Again, it depends on the phase, but it seems like that synergy could work too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hear some of our thoughts regarding the AoE characters. If you guys have any thoughts or questions that you guys want to ask us, go ahead and type them in the YouTube chat. We're approaching our typical ending Q&A segment here. So whatever questions that you guys have for us, go ahead and post them in the YouTube chat, and we'll go ahead and get to them. We did have a couple of them that I was making note of here. So the first one, and this is an interesting question that I think is a pretty good question to ask given the current state of everything. Do you think that the stuff going on with the credit heist, which is that you're able to do it a second time, is that something that you would be worried about that it could be considered an exploit?
Not if they know about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. They did the same thing, and I think it was you that mentioned it, Ramon, that they did the same thing in with Omega events a little while ago.
Yeah.
So this isn't an unusual thing that they're doing right now.
No, it's
Well,
not.
and this is just from experience. So I mean, I know that when the first time this happened, like the first time they put Omega events out, we actually had the same thing. Like you were able to do the Omega events twice. Okay, and a ton of people were afraid that they were going to like. This was around the same time that the whole Darth Vader bug started happening, where people were able to reset their achievements and get tons of Vader shards and credits and things like that. So people were getting banned and suspended for that.
Right.
And then this Omega event came out, and people were able to get extra Omega mats. So I remember Darkron, who was a member of Team Skunk at the time, sent a message directly to EHSC, begging and pleading for him not to get banned because he was getting these extra Omega mats. And EHSC had responded to us not to worry about it, and that nobody that gets any mats like that is going to ever be banned. So it's not something you have to concern yourself with.
Yeah. The most important thing for everyone to remember: make sure you wake up a little bit early to do the credit heist, because it's only going to be available. Check the timing on your events, but it looks like it will end around 8 a.m. your local time.
Yeah,
So you'll
that's what it
have
looks
about a
like.
7-hour window between your reset, which is 1 a.m. and 8 a.m.
And
to get that.
this is all speculative, right? Like we're hoping that this is going to be the case. I mean, they may just pull the rug from underneath us and just pull the credit heist before that happens.
It could.
Yeah,
But we're hoping
based
that
on the current times. Yeah,
So I
based on
mean,
the current times that are listed, we're making these assumptions.
listen, and I don't think that anything achievements reset, and he got he was able to collect more Vader shards. Now he actually didn't do it, and he waited to get a response from EA before they did anything. But I mean, listen, if you're sitting there playing the game, and not everybody's on the forums, not everybody even knows like what an exploit is. I mean, some of these people just play this game for fun, and you jump in on your handheld, you play your Star Wars game, you go back to work, or whatever you're doing. If you popped into your screen and all of a sudden it says hey, and there's like a little red circle that says you can get some more Vader shards, I mean, who's not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's just for us that know that it's an exploit and that there are people that do it. There's it's a totally different story to go back in again and try to keep doing it over and over again to try to cheat the system. But if you happen to get a couple of bones that get thrown your way along the way in this long battle that we have here in this game, I think you take them.
That
Awesome.
being said, I wouldn't mind if they, after 17 hours, after everyone gets their second credit heist, if a few hours later they open up the credit heist again. I would not mind that at all. If
No,
anyone is listening that cares.
I don't think that that's a bad idea at all.
I think the credit heist should be going on every single day.
I mean, how can you argue with that? Good question. What else do we got?
All right, so just a question now based on about the Emperor. We discussed him a little bit, his potential in the raid, but if you aren't sure how this new raid is going to turn out, and I had mentioned this situation with me earlier, but I'll let Ranger, you can tackle this one because you're getting close there. But without knowing exactly what the new raid is, what the abilities are,
Mm-hmm.
with everything that you're going to collect from the Palpatine event, do you think it's worth it to invest it in Palpatine immediately or wait until the new raid comes out to decide?
Depends on what you want to use them for. Um, I plan on using them right away. I still have the credit, not the credit, but the mods challenge to do. He's the last Empire character I'll need. I'm gonna knock that out. I plan on using him for PvP. Seen some teams with him already. They're pretty damn nasty, and I already have all the other pieces to do that. Now, that being said, you may not need to do that. I personally am going to and use him right away. I think he has a lot of utility. He can do a lot of things. I really like the tune and the setup, but that's just me. If you choose to do it and gear him up and everything, do it. If you choose not to, you're fine too. If you want to wait and see, there's nothing wrong with that too. I would say probably wait if you're not planning on using them right away, just to kind of see what will transpire, especially if you're looking for the raid. But if you want to use them like I am, where I already have a plan of action for him, then yeah, level him now. Nothing wrong with that either. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with this question. I think you just have to kind of take an assessment of where you're at and what you're trying to do.
What are your thoughts, Ramon?
Yeah, I agree with Ranger. I think it's going to be solely based upon what you know about your team and what makes sense with your current arena and like what your plans are. But it's going to be okay either way. I mean, I know a ton of people like to save resources for upcoming events and raids and things like that. But the problem is with that is that you know even if you're trying to get ahead of the game, you're still going to make mistakes along the way. There's still going to be people that, when the raid comes out, it's not going to, the answers that we get the first week are not going to be the answers that we get in week 4. They're not going to be the answers that we get in week 8 after the raid's been out. So it's like, over time, we're just going to continue to dissect the raid more and more and uncover new secrets and new tips and tricks. So again, I mean, when the raid comes out, you're going to want to have something prepared, okay? And again, if you're somebody who's just looking to put together a team, because you think Palpatine will be great in your arena, level them up. You know what I'm saying? But if you're okay and you don't need to use the resources, and you don't necessarily, really have a special feeling about the character of Emperor Palpatine, then you don't need to do it. You could just save your resources, wait till the raid comes out, and you'll have a ton of raid gear and resources ready just in case you need to make a quick move here or there. But I promise you that no matter what, you're going to get the information, as it comes, and when it comes, you're going to be making adjustments anyway when that time comes. So you're gonna go all in on something, and then that'll end up being what works, and then we'll find something even better than that, and then you're just gonna go all in on that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's how it goes.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And just to kind of give a little bit more clarity, like I was mentioning, I'm saving resources right now, but the key thing to remember, and I think both Ranger and Ramon pointed these out, it's really important to know your own roster before making decisions about characters. Like my roster, Ramon is pay to play, so he has a lot of characters, obviously. Ranger and I are a little bit more free to play, so we obviously don't have as many characters. I'm at the point now where I'm reaching about 30, 70 star characters around level 80. I think a couple of them are in the 70s at this point. But I have enough of a roster to kind of play around with Arena. I have more than enough to get through GW at this point. I'm personally not concerned too much about mod challenges right now, so I'm not focusing terribly on that. So I'm at the point right now where I have a solid collection of characters, and I would rather just collect shards of characters that I think will be useful. So my gamble is kind of more on the shard aspect, and then collecting the training droids, collecting the credits, and then spending them once I have a little bit of a better idea, because this whole game is pretty much a gamble. You're gambling on whether or not one character is worth it, as much as Ranger likes to tease me about it at this point. You're gambling whether or not I'm a Gundy is going to be worth it for the raid versus whether or not Lando may have more of a use coming up, and all of a sudden the Rebel event pops up. Like, you never know kind of what's going to happen. That's why I tend to hoard, but that's only because my collection is kind of where I want it to be at this point. So it is important, and just kind of echoing the same sentiments as Ranger and Ramon. It's important to know your collection before deciding what to do with different characters
Yeah.
and what you want to get out of the game also.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're prepared. Like if you're somebody who's like I get these all the time, like from people that are like trying to make adjustments to their roster to try to get Palpatine and things like that. And it's like what I want to say to all people is, basically, if you're not like ready yet to field a full five in arena, if you don't have a maxed out, raid team and all that stuff, you should really be focusing on that first before you start focusing on these extracurricular characters and things like that. Because as much as they want to make it sound like it's never going to happen again, or anything like that, you're going to get another chance to get Palpatine. I promise.
Yeah, you will.
And I think we're doing a good job of answering people's questions before they even ask it. So we don't have too many other questions here. So I think at this point then,
There's no other
we're ready to
questions?
sign off, right, Ranger?
Well, if there's no other questions, by all means, we've been on for just over an hour and a half. That's about usually how long we want to be on. Any longer than that, then I start getting crazy. Cats start dating dogs. Finn turns white. I turn brown. Raymond moves to New York. I mean, strange stuff happens, okay? But I see we got some people up in the chat channel, though. Are they looking to get in here, Lampshade and them?
Let's see. Are they getting ready? Well,
Or do we want to?
so yeah, I think they're ready for the after party.
They're ready for the after party. Okay, so that's cool. So okay, let me pull up the.
So let's go ahead and, I guess, wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
So let me actually, before we get into our usual ending here, Ramon, one thing that we are noticing a little bit more is that new players are always starting to come in, and they're trying to find an interest in this game and what they should do. So if you had one piece of advice for any new player that would be watching, what would be that piece of advice?
Um, don't spread out your resources. I mean, if you're asking me for like, are you asking me like what's cool about the game, or are you asking me like a piece of advice like to help them as they progress through the game?
No, help them as they progress through the game.
I would say the biggest problem that I see that people make whenever anybody comes to ask advice about their roster is really that they spread out their resources, right? They don't go all in on what they're working on. So if you're farming a character, okay, finish that character, then move on to the next one. We have, I see people all the time, they come in, they have like, 10, 5, and 6-star characters, and they're just like wondering why their roster's not working. And it's because you have to have a full 5 in arena that's maxed out to be effective in arena. You have to have a full 5 in a raid to be effective in a raid. Okay, so you have to max out what you're working on, and then move on to the next thing. Complete and then move on. If you try to spread your resources amongst a ton of different characters, you're never going to have one thing that works correctly. So you need to have you know you need to first thing you do when you come to the game is you need to get your arena team ready, right? So you start farming those characters. Then next thing, you want to maybe get your raid team together. You know what I'm saying, and start farming those characters. And until you're done with each character, you don't move on to the next one. Now, I mean, if you want to, let's say, farm multiple characters out of different areas, that's okay. Like, so let's say you're farming Luminara out of Galactic War shipments, so you can get through your Galactic Wars every day, because that's important. Then you do that. Then you also farm, let's say, Princess Leia out of arena shipments, and then you farm, let's say, Qui-Gon Jinn out of Cantina shipments. That's fine, but I see time and time again, I see people that are like, they have a 5-star Stormtrooper Han, and they have a 5-star Admiral Akbar, and it's like, you should have never even gotten to that point. You should have finished one of those
No.
guys,
Yeah.
then gone to the next one, right? You should not be trying to get multiple resources from the same location. If you're farming some guy at a Cantina,
Stick
finish
with
that
it.
guy at a Cantina, get him enough shards to 7-star him, and then go to the next character. If that makes any sense.
Makes total sense to me. And
too.
and if you guys want, we do have
All right, so you heard it from Remon himself. So
yeah, we do have a
any of you guys
tutorial.
that are just starting, make sure that you follow that advice. It is great advice.
Yeah, we do have a tutorial up.
And so we'll go ahead and start wrapping. Assuming he's back.
I'm back. Oh, Lord in heaven. I swear. Sweet Jesus and baby Jesus. I was just saying that we do have a tutorial up that we did. You can check it in our page that starts for any new player that's out there from start to beginning. We break down every single area of the game, who you might want to farm. We lay it all out. So if you need information about which was great advice from Remon, you can go there and check it out. I can't remember the exact name of the video, but it's there. Something we did for the weekend, but
Yeah,
it just says
it's in the weekend gameplay.
Yeah.
From I'm getting the date right now. I believe it's July 30th, and it's called Gameplay Basics.
Right.
So, and we'll put a link to that in the YouTube description.
Yeah.
Here shortly.
Yeah, but I think with that, everybody that came out tonight, thank you so much. Subscribe. We're still trying to build the community. Check out all the websites. I wanted to thank Remon for being on tonight. Big shout out to you. Where can everybody find your information out, Remon?
Yeah, I mean, you can, come check me out at the Team Skunk Discord. If you ever want to chat with me, you can always send me a private message there. You just got to go to teamskunk.com and follow the instructions to the Discord. I also have my own YouTube channel, and I post videos on lordskunk.com's YouTube channel as well. So if you ever want to check any of my videos out, you can always go to just do a search for Remon Azab on YouTube.
We have you linked on our description too, so they can just go straight from here.
Awesome.
I think there's a link in the description for this video as well. So if you want to check any of my videos out, I have some things I posted up recently about Palpatine and some top 5 videos and things like that. So I'd love to see you guys over there. And of course, like I said, if you ever want to chat with me, you can always come check me in the Discord or write a comment in one of my videos. And I listen and I read all the comments, so I try to do the best I can to either answer any questions people have or try to put out content that people are asking for. So if I see that somebody has a suggestion, I try to make videos for as many suggestions as I can.
Okay. Awesome. So I think that's it. Anything else you want to add, Finn?
No.
All right.
We got everything covered, and this went relatively smooth with all the typical technical difficulties that Real Strip of Genius streams have.
I mean, if you guys knew how much goes into streaming and all the stuff that we put in there and the bells and whistles, so that's all I'll say.
I know, and it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's why I mostly make videos rather than live streams personally, because there's a lot of technical things.
It really is.
And you're trying to keep people on, for
Yeah,
Volumes are never right with us.
it's unreal.
You're looking at multiple screens, and then on top of that, you have to also, have some sort of entertaining conversation while you're doing all that stuff in the background too. So it's not an easy juggle by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not. So, but hey, everybody that was on tonight, thank you. Spread the word. Remon, thank you. Finn, we're going to have an after party, which we always do. So come join us in Discord, which I think we got some people in there already. So feel free to come join the channel. And
Link to the Rebel Base Discord is in the YouTube description.
Come on in.
It will be in the Masses voice chat.
Yep. So everyone, thank you for coming out. Good night, and we will see you next week. With that, this is Real Sith Genius signing off.